Songshan Mountain, Henan Province, China. It is 5:30 in the morning. While the training hall will not open for another hour, the kitchen has been running since last night. 8 ingredients, slow heat, and a clay pot that feeds 300 men the exact same meal they have eaten every single day for 1,500 years. The monks who eat this breakfast train for 6 hours on stone floors. They continue this into their 60s and their 70s. Their bone density scans come back looking like men half their age. No supplements, no calcium pills, no dairy, and nothing that costs significant money. Just the bowl. 3 foods inside it are doing something that modern medicine spent billions trying to replicate in a capsule and never quite manage. Here is what those foods are, and here is why they work. Scientists who have studied the monks at Shaolin Temple found something they could not explain with conventional medicine. Men in their 60s and 70s, men who had spent decades doing high-impact martial arts on stone floors, were showing bone density scores that defied their age. The average American man at 65 has lost 15 to 20% of his peak bone mass. These monks had lost almost none. No supplements, no dairy, and not a single calcium pill between them. At minute 9, I will show you the one food combination that modern nutrition has completely ignored and why it activates the same bone-building pathway as prescription drugs. At minute 11, I'm going to show you exactly how the calcium supplement industry has been extracting money from you for a result that a 59-study meta-analysis from the British Medical Journal says is clinically insignificant. And by minute 13, you will have the complete 3-tier system you can start tomorrow morning. The answer starts in a kitchen that has been running since 495 AD. Songshan Mountain, Henan Province, China. 5:30 in the morning, before the first training session, before the chants, before anything, every monk in that complex sits down to the same meal. A clay bowl, steam rising, 8 ingredients cooked together in a slow pot that has been on since the night before. Red adzuki beans, mung beans, black frijoles, glutinous rice, peanuts, millet, Chinese red dates, and most importantly, 2 heaping tablespoons of black sesame seeds. They call it baba oju, 8 treasures kanji. They have eaten this exact breakfast in this exact form for over 1,500 years. Here is what nobody told you about calcium. You can swallow 1,000 milligrams of calcium every day, but if your body cannot activate vitamin D, almost none of that calcium reaches your bones. It circulates, it gets excreted, or worse, it deposits in soft tissue and arterial walls instead of bone. That is not a theory. That is the finding that came out of the BMJ in 2010. The key is magnesium. Magnesium is the switch that turns on vitamin D. Without enough magnesium, vitamin D stays in its inactive form, and without active vitamin D, the whole calcium chain breaks down. The 8 treasures kanji is extraordinarily rich in magnesium. Every single bowl, every single morning. The monks have been activating their vitamin D before breakfast for 15 centuries, and they did not need a biochemistry degree to know it. Right now, do this test. Make a tight fist, as tight as you can. Hold it for 10 full seconds, then let go completely. Feel the stiffness in your knuckles? Feel how long it takes for the tension to release? That is your current inflammation level. That is the state your connective tissue is in right now. We are coming back to this test at the end, and if you follow this system, what you feel will be different in less than 30 days. So here is tier 1. This is what you start tomorrow. Add 2 TBSP of black sesame seeds to your breakfast. Any breakfast. Oatmeal, yogurt, eggs, it does not matter. Just add them. Black sesame seeds, not white, not tahini, black and whole, contain 975 mg of calcium per 100 grain. A full glass of milk contains 291. On a per gram basis, black sesame seeds are one of the densest calcium sources on the planet. But here is what matters more than the calcium: the sesamin. Sesamin is the primary lignin in black sesame seeds, and it activates something called the 1T beta-catenin pathway, the exact same biological pathway that certain bone-building prescription medications target. The monks did not know the name of the pathway. They just knew that generations of men who ate these seeds kept moving well into their 70s. Add 2 TBSP to your morning. That is it. That is tier 1. Within 7 days, most men notice 2 things. better sleep, and less morning joint stiffness. The magnesium works fast. The bone remodeling takes longer, but the system starts immediately. Now, Tier 1 alone will not get you where the monks are. The next layer is where it gets interesting and where the supplement industry does not want you to look. At minute 3, I asked you to make a fist and feel your inflammation. Here is what the test is actually measuring. Bone and muscle do not operate separately. They are part of the same system. When one declines, the other follows. The grip test gives you a real-time signal of where that system is. And for most men over 55, that system is failing, not because of genetics, but because of food. Here is the trap. The average American man over 50 spends somewhere between $400 and $700 on calcium supplements and vitamin D pills. That feels reasonable. You are doing something. You are being proactive. In 2015, the British Medical Journal published a meta-analysis of 59 randomized controlled trials involving over 12,000 participants. It was the largest systematic review of calcium supplementation and bone health ever conducted. Their conclusion: calcium supplements increase bone density by 1 to 1.8%, and the authors wrote directly that this effect is unlikely to translate into clinically significant reductions in fracture risk. 1.88% after years of taking pills, after hundreds of dollars. Meanwhile, a Singapore cohort study tracking 257 people over nearly 8 years found that those who regularly consumed tofu, not supplements, just tofu, had a 37% lower risk of hip fracture. Not 1.8%, but 37%. The supplement does not replicate the food. It never did. The food contains the full matrix: calcium, magnesium, protein, isoflavones, trace minerals, all in a form the body recognizes and processes together. The supplement gives you one isolated compound and expects your body to do the rest with missing pieces. Stand on one leg right now. Close your eyes, count to 10. If you lost your balance before 10 seconds, you are in the 70% of men over 55 who fail this test. This is directly correlated with bone mineral density and muscle-bone integration. The monks do not practice balance drills specifically. Balance is simply what happens when the entire system is working. This is Tier 2. 3 times a week, replace one protein source with firm tofu, not silken tofu, not soft tofu. Extra firm calcium set tofu. 4 Oz gives you 430 milligrams of calcium alongside 10 grams of complete protein. Cook it simply. Hot pan, olive oil, 4 minutes per side until it is golden. It does not require a recipe. The monks eat tofu at the midday meal every single day. It is not a protein alternative for them. It is just protein. It has been for 1,500 years. At minute 9, I told you about the food combination that activates the bone-building pathway. You now have both pieces: the black sesame seeds that trigger the WNT pathway and the tofu that delivers calcium with the full isoflavone complex that helps retain bone mineral density in aging men. Together, Tier 1 and Tier 2 replicate the nutritional foundation of every Shaolin monk's diet. Now, the third element is the one that closes the entire system, and this one is the oldest of all. Remember at minute 1, that kitchen running since 495 AD, that clay pot, that bowl that has not changed in 1,500 years? Here is the third piece of what is inside it. The 8 treasures kanji is not just the sesame seeds, it is the legume matrix that surrounds them. Red adzuki beans, mung beans, black beans, all cooked together into a morning meal that delivers something the sesame seeds and tofu alone cannot. The complete mineral cofactor system: zinc, phosphorus, iron, and critically more magnesium. Here is why this matters. You can have enough calcium, you can have enough vitamin D, but bone mineral density also depends on the protein scaffold that calcium deposits onto. That scaffold is collagen. And collagen synthesis requires zinc, vitamin C, and adequate protein. When you are deficient in zinc, which most Western men over 50 are, the scaffold weakens. Calcium cannot bind properly regardless of how much you take. The legumes in the 8 treasures kanji supply the zinc. The system is complete. Now do this final test. Stand up, reach straight down toward the floor. Do not force it. Just let your hands descend naturally. If your fingertips do not reach past your knees, your posterior chain is locked. Your body is protecting brittle connective tissue by limiting your range of motion. That protective mechanism is real, but it comes at a cost. It accelerates joint deterioration. Men who follow this three-food system consistently report passing this test within 60 days. Not because they stretch more, but because the tissue itself changed. This is Tier 3, the complete system. Sunday evening, batch cook the 8 treasures congee, 1 large pot, 2 tablespoons of each, adzuki beans, mung beans, black beans, rice, millet, peanuts. Add 6 dried jujube dates and 2 tablespoons of goji berries in the last 10 minutes. 3 L of water, simmer 45 minutes. This feeds you for the week. Every morning, a bowl of congee plus 2 tablespoons of black sesame seeds on top. 3 times a week, extra firm tofu at lunch. That is the entire system. It costs roughly $2.50 per day. The monks have been running it for 100 years on far less. At minute 3, you opened a loop about why calcium alone fails. Here is the full answer. Calcium without magnesium cannot activate vitamin D. Vitamin D without zinc cannot build the collagen scaffold. The collagen scaffold without protein cannot support mineralization. And mineralization without the isoflavone complex in soy-based foods loses efficiency as testosterone declines after 50. The 3 foods address every single one of those steps simultaneously. No supplement stack does that. Not one. Now, what goes wrong? Most men start with Tier 1, feel good, then stop in week 3 because nothing visible happened. The mistake is expecting bone changes to feel like muscle changes. Muscle responds in days. Bone remodels over months. The signal that it is working is in your joints, your sleep, and your grip strength, not in how you look. If you get digestive discomfort in week 1 from the legumes, that is normal. Cut the bean quantity in half. Your gut microbiome adapts within 2 to 3 weeks. Do not abandon the protocol. One hard warning: do not use pre-cooked canned tofu in brine. The sodium content cancels part of the calcium benefit. Buy fresh, extra firm tofu, rinse it, press it, cook it simply. At minute 6, I mentioned the secret the monks do not teach directly. Here it is. The foods are not the point. The schedule is the point. The monks eat the same foods at the same times every single day. Not because they lack imagination, but because the body responds to nutritional consistency differently than it responds to nutritional variety. Bone metabolism runs on months-long cycles. You do not interrupt those cycles. You feed them consistently. That is what you cannot get from a supplement. A supplement is a transaction. This is a system. Let us close this out clearly. The kitchen on Songshan Mountain that opened this video has not changed in 1,500 years. Same pot, same 8 ingredients, same time every morning, and the men who eat from it keep moving. Hard, physical, full contact movement, well into their 70s with bones that defy everything modern medicine would predict. Here is the system. Tier 1 is black sesame seeds every morning. 2, TBSP. They deliver calcium that rivals dairy, plus the sesamin compound that activates your bone-building pathway directly. Start tonight. Tier 2 is extra firm calcium set tofu 3 times a week. 430 mg of calcium per serving, plus the isoflavone complex that has been shown in studies of over 63,000 people to reduce hip fracture risk by 37%. Tier 3 is the 8 treasures congee, a once-weekly batch that gives you the complete mineral matrix. Zinc, magnesium, phosphorus, and the protein cofactors that calcium needs to actually build bone rather than circulate uselessly. The modern approach gives you an isolated compound in a bottle. A 59-study meta-analysis says it improves bone density by 1.8%, a number the researchers themselves described as clinically meaningless. The monk approach gives you the full matrix every morning, the same bowl for life. Here is what to do right now. This evening, buy black sesame seeds, whole, unhulled, black. They are available online or at any Asian grocery. Cost is around $10 for a bag that lasts 2 months. Tomorrow morning, add 2 TBSP to whatever you are already eating. That is Tier 1 done. This weekend, batch cook the congee. 1 pot, 1 hour, 7 breakfasts. This week, add tofu twice, just twice. The one thing that ruins this system is inconsistency in the first 30 days. The body needs to register the pattern before it shifts the mineral metabolism. If you do it 4 days and stop, you restart the clock. Commit to 30 days, then reassess. Go back to that fist test from the beginning. Make the same tight fist, hold 10 seconds, release. In 30 days, if you followed even tier 1 and tier 2, that release will feel different. The rigidity fades faster. That is the system working. The monk did not earn his bone density by taking something. He earned it by never stopping. We have compiled practical protocols for muscle, sleep, pain, and energy designed for men over 50 who are done with the modern fitness industry. Check the description if you want the full system. If you want more complete protocols like this for sleep, muscle, energy, and pain, all adapted for men over 50 with a job and a real life, subscribe to our channel. We do this every week. Drop your age below if you're over 50 and you are starting this today, and send this to one man in your life who has tried every supplement and still feels like he is falling apart. He needs to see this. The monks understood something we forgot. The body does not want a shortcut, it wants a system. Give it one. If this ancient wisdom has changed the way you look at the simple ingredients in your kitchen, please subscribe and like this video. We are uncovering the historical truths that they have tried to bury. Start planting the seeds for your future health today. The next treasure of knowledge will be revealed soon.